The meeting was presided over by His Excellency Sheikh Abdul Malik bin Abdullah Al Khalili, Chairman of the State Council. His Excellency General Sultan bin Mohammed Al Nu'mani, Minister of the Royal Office, received His Excellency Oleg Levin, Ambassador of the Russian Federation to the Sultanate of Oman. At the meeting, His Excellency welcomed the guest who expressed his thanks and appreciation to the Sultanate of Oman for enhancing ways of cooperation. During the meeting, they exchanged friendly talks and discussed bilateral relations between the two friendly countries, along with efforts to strengthen them in all fields. The Royal Hospital has launched a comprehensive enterprise risk management program. The program is a strategic step towards effective governance and achieving the highest level of quality and safety. The program contributes to enhancing the ability to respond to various types of risks, whether clinical, operational or strategic, and supports risk-based planning to achieve optimal resources utilization and enhance healthcare organization and patient safety. The program launch ceremony was sponsored by His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Salim Al-Mandhari, Undersecretary of the Ministry of Health for Health Planning and Regulation. The Ministerial Council of the Gulf Cooperation Council GCC emphasized the need to continue strengthening efforts to halt the Israeli aggression, protect Palestinian civilians and ensure unhindered access to humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. During the 164th session of the Council held in Kuwait, the GCC countries reiterated their firm position calling for the withdrawal of Israeli forces from the Gaza Strip and all occupied Palestinian territories in accordance with the international legitimacy resolutions. The Council also welcomed the talks between the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran, appreciating the efforts made by the Sultanate of Oman in hosting and facilitating these high-level talks. It affirmed its support for these diplomatic efforts and the importance of adopting a dialogue approach to resolving disputes and conflicts through peaceful means. It expressed its hope that these talks will lead to regional and international security and stability. The Council emphasized the importance of supporting efforts aimed at restoring security and stability in Syria while preserving Syria's unity and sovereignty over all its territories. The Sultanate of Oman's delegation to the meeting was headed by His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Hamad Al Busaidi, Foreign Minister. Hamas welcomed the continued Qatari and Egyptian efforts to end the war in the Gaza Strip. This came as at least 31 Palestinians were killed by Israeli gunfire near a humanitarian aid center in southern Gaza. Gaza-based health authorities said besides those killed, dozens of the others seriously injured when Israeli forces opened the near humanitarian aid distribution point in Rafah, southern Gaza, where residents were gathering to receive aid. The United Nations Relief and Work Agency for Palestine refugees in the Near East, UNRWA, said that a distribution point by the Israeli-American plan was put far south in Rafah. An official from UNRWA said that Israel must lift the siege and allow United Nations agencies access to bring in aid and distribute it safely, adding that this is the only way to avert mass starvation, including among 1 million children. Iran today called a recent report by the United Nations nuclear watchdog on its nuclear activities fully biased and politically motivated. Ismail Baghei, Iran's foreign ministry spokesman, said at a media briefing in Tehran that the content of the report issued by the IAEA is mostly repetitive and it exaggerates some technical issues. He added that they have no doubt that this report has been prepared under pressure. Baghei also said Iran will not respond positively to the text proposed by the US if it involves radical maximalist demands. Delegations from Russia and Ukraine met in Turkey on today for the second round of direct peace talks in just over 2 weeks, although expectations were low for any significant progress on ending the 3-year war after a string of stunning attacks over the weekend. The Ukrainian delegation was led by Defense Minister Rustem Umerov. Officials said Vladimir Medinsky and aide to Russian leader Vladimir Putin headed the Kremlin team. Russian state media reported. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan chaired the talks at Istanbul's Siragan Palace and gave an opening speech to mark their start. Recent comments by senior officials in both countries indicate they remain far apart on the key conditions for stopping the war. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has affirmed that the threat posed by the Russians cannot be ignored, stressing that the United Kingdom must be prepared to face a new global reality marked by the growing threats and instability. In a press briefing, Starmer announced that his government has launched a comprehensive review of defense spending, the first move of its kind under the new administration. The Prime Minister noted that increased instability and global threats required immediate and effective action to strengthen the UK's defence capabilities. He emphasised that the world has entered a new era of security and defence, calling for enhanced British military readiness and closer coordination with NATO. Member states of the United Nations General Assembly are set to elect former German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock today as President of the Assembly's 80th session, which is scheduled to open this September and will bring together representatives from all 193 United Nations member states. Baerbock is running unopposed for the one-year post, which holds mainly ceremonial and protocol significance. It should not be confused with the role of United Nations Secretary General held by Antonio Guterres. The official swearing-in ceremony is set for September 9th, shortly before the general debate begins, with dignitaries and high-level guests expected to attend from around the world. Nationalist opposition candidate Karol Nawrocki narrowly won Poland's presidential election. Result showed today, June 2nd, delivering a major blow to the centrist government's efforts to cement Warsaw's pro-European orientation. Nawrocki secured 50.89% of the vote. Election Commission data showed an outcome that presages more political gridlock, as he is likely to use his presidential veto to thwart Prime Minister Donald Tusk's liberal policy agenda. Tusk's government has been seeking to reverse judicial reforms made by the previous Nationalist Law and Justice PIS government, but current President Andrzej Duda, a PIS ally, has blocked its efforts, and pattern Nawrocki is likely to continue. Nawrocki's rival Rafał Trzaskowski, the liberal Warsaw mayor, who was standing for Tusk's ruling civil coalition KO, got 49.11%. The data showed both candidates had declared victory immediately after the publication of an exit poll late yesterday that showed the result would be very, very close. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and yet to come in our news bulletin. In a humanitarian gesture that embodies the values of altruism and social responsibility, a citizen donates her kidney to save her brother's life. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The Mina and Arafat camps were handed over to Hajj service companies following a new distribution plan aimed at addressing previous observations. Service vehicle entry permits were also issued. During a meeting held at the mission's headquarters in Mecca, companies received detailed maps outlining pilgrims' accommodation areas with housing scheduled to begin on day of Taraweeh and continue until the end of the Tashriq days. The mission emphasized the importance of transporting pilgrims to the holy sites on time, facilitating their performance of rituals, including the stoning of the Jamarat, and promptly informing them upon completion. It also stressed the necessity of staying in Mina during the designated nights, organizing pilgrims groups efficiently, and avoiding crowded areas. Coordination was established with the Arab Pilgrims Mutawifin Foundation regarding Arafat preparations and communication mechanisms between companies and local guides. Significant improvements were made to the Omani pilgrims camps, including the provision of chairs, sleeping arrangements and modern air conditioning units within the tents. Cooling systems were upgraded to address high temperatures. The General Procedures Price or Producers Price Index in the Sultanate of Oman increased by more than 4% in the first quarter of this year. The National Center for Statistics and Information indicated that the mining and quarrying group increased by about 9%, while the manufacturing group decreased by less than 4%. Prices of food, beverages, textiles, as well as electricity and water prices also increased. In a humanitarian gesture that embodies the values of altruism and social responsibility, Bahia Al-Ajmi has donated one of her kidneys to save her brother's life. The selfless act drew wide praise across the country, shedding light on the crucial role of organ donation in saving lives. This step aligns with Oman's national efforts to regulate and advance organ transplantation. Oman continues to implement stringent medical protocols and ethical guidelines to ensure the safety of both donors and recipients in accordance with the government regulations concerning the donation, transplantation and preservation of human organs and tissues. Authorities continue to promote public awareness campaigns to encourage voluntary organ donation as a vital part of the healthcare system and a reflection of compassion and solidarity within Omani society. In a new achievement, the Sultanate of Oman made progress, leading Oman among Arab countries in the Global Rights Index released by the International Trade Union Confederation, with an improved ranking from level 4 to level 3. Here are the details.
The Sultanate of Oman has made progress in terms of union rights and freedoms, leading among Arab countries in the Global Rights Index released by the International Trade Union Confederation. Its ranking improved from level 4 to level 3. The Ministry of Labour, the General Federation of Oman Workers and the Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry contributed to achieving this ranking through a series of efforts at both national and international levels. This progress in ranking, according to the index, is attributed to a series of reforms in labour laws and systems aimed at improving workers' access to justice, enhancing more effective tripartite dialogue between the government, workers' representatives and employees by forming a joint dialogue committee to draft and amend labour laws and policies, including representatives from all parties. Additionally, reforms and efforts made locally in recent years have contributed to enhancing dialogue on labour issues and improving dispute resolution mechanisms. The annual index is a global assessment of trade unions and human rights by the country and is updated in a report released by the International Trade Union Confederation annually as part of the International Labour Conference held yearly in Geneva of Switzerland. The index ranks countries on a scale from 1 best to 5 the worst, considering a set of indicators such as the level of violations of union rights and union memberships, with 97 indicators derived from the International Labour Organization's labour standards.
This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The State Council Office discusses the study of the diversifying mechanism in income sources in the Sultanate of Oman. The Ministerial Council of the GCC countries emphasizes the need to continue strengthening efforts to halt the Israeli aggression, protect Palestinian civilians, and ensure unhindered access to humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. And delegations from Russia and Ukraine meet in Turkey for the second round of direct peace talks in just over 2 weeks. And with that, we come to an end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and studios, it's goodbye.